Are going wonderfully well. As you say, we've got some fans who've been here for 2 days, some got here yesterday, some are perhaps on the plane right now travelling from either London or Manchester, and some will arrive later. There could be some people right now in England watching this broadcast just on their way to set out to the airport. They then come to Moscow, go straight to the stadium, watch the game and fly back. Lots of people with different preparations of their own, but some people have got here a little bit earlier to savour a little bit of the city. And our correspondent Leah Ferguson met them at the airport, some Chelsea fans and some Manchester United fans, and she was with them last night in the bars and clubs of Moscow, and she kept her eye on them to check that there was nothing untoward. Manchester United fans reunited. Muscovite Vadim proud to play host to his English football friends.
I think this is a lifetime opportunity, really, and I don't know what to think. I still can't believe it that Manchester United in the final of the Champions League in Moscow.
And the Brits haven't been put off by the negative stereotypes of Russia rife back home.
Certainly not scary to me. I came in 1992. It was more scary in 1992. Russia's not scary as a city at all. You go to New York, you go to Chicago. They're scary cities.
Across town in the blue corner, Chelsea supporters say they're pleased with the welcome they've received.
Russia's been very kind to us, everyone's so helpful, and it's just such a pleasant place to come to.
Fans have been flocking here in their thousands, most of them arriving on match day for a one-night stand. This is a huge logistical operation, but Moscow is keen to get it right. A lot of thought has gone into how exactly 50,000 football fans will get to and from the match. Well, the answer, nearly 1,000 buses laid on by Moscow City Council. So fly them in, bus them about, then fly them out. Moscow says this is the best way to control the English invasion and stop fans stumbling around the city getting into trouble.
We're doing this for the convenience of the fans, so they won't struggle to find their way around the foreign city without knowing the language. We want their trip to be as comfortable as possible.
Once in the Luzhniki complex, team supporters will be separately contained and entertained ahead of the game, closely guarded by 6,000 policemen. This is the biggest sporting event to hit the capital since the 1980 Olympics. Moscow wants to impress.
We want all of them to have wonderful experiences and to leave with great impressions of our city.
And amid the football fever, Moscow's plan to show these guys a good time seems to be working. Well, in bars and clubs across the city, fans are getting a real taste of Russia, enjoying some Russian beer. They say in the short time they've been here, their perception of Moscow has changed. A far cry from the doom and gloom painted by the British media. Leah Ferguson, Rush Today, Moscow. I'm sure Leah got to bed early, although I don't have personal knowledge of that. Some fans were partying long into the night, but I'm happy to say there were no reported problems, no troubles on the streets, and everything's looking good. The only problem we've got at the moment, Neve, is the weather, which is a bit grim. It's just a little bit of sun sneaking through, but it's still raining at the moment.
Well, let's hope it doesn't dampen the spirits, Dave, but of course there has been some concern about how the English fans will behave while in Russia. You only have to log on to the British Embassy website to see a list of advice that's given there for fans travelling to Moscow. What's been done to ensure the game takes place without any serious incidents?
Well, the Russian authorities have taken lots of measures to stop any problems. They're going to have as many as 14,500 police on the streets. That's a record for the capital. And there is a bit of a history, of course, of British fans causing problems. Last week at the UEFA Cup final in Manchester, there was a riot by Rangers fans, while the Zenit fans were perfectly well behaved. They did win, of course. But I don't think there's a particular history between Chelsea and Manchester United. There's a feeling that most of the people who would cause trouble probably wouldn't be able to travel this far. Perhaps they wouldn't be able to afford it. They've also confiscated the odd passport here and there of anyone that they think might be a troublemaker. I really don't foresee any problems at all. And if you take what happened yesterday in Red Square as a good example, there was a tremendous harmonious atmosphere there. The European Cup was on show. People were queuing for 2 hours to get their picture taken with the trophy. I was talking to quite a few people in the queue. Of course, there'll be a queue for the trophy tonight inside Luzhniki Stadium. Just a few footballers queuing for that one. Will it be red or blue? We'll have to wait and see. There was lots of children there as well, and many children really caught up in this football match, and lots of young children who just spoke a little bit of English, going up to English fans and saying, can we have our photograph taken with you? It's lovely that you're here in our city. And I think the English people who got here early enough really appreciated that.
Now, Dave, this isn't just a big game for English fans, is it? The two teams are popular all over the world. Why such interest in British football?
Well, it's partly media hype, it's partly the two best teams in Europe and possibly the two best teams in the world. In fact, it would be very difficult to argue with any teams who are better than these two who will be playing behind me later on tonight. Chelsea, of course, with all Abramovich's money. They might get some extra support from the Russian side, the neutrals who come. And remember, this will be a place to be seen tonight. There'll be people who aren't necessarily football fans coming here just to enjoy the atmosphere, which will be splendid, I'm sure. And I think they might back the blue side. And Manchester United, tremendous history, two-time European champions, and it's 50 years since the Munich air crash which killed some of the famous Busby babes, and I think it was from there that the history of the club has developed. And I know that's quite a poignant thing, and Sir Alex Ferguson, the Manchester United manager, was talking about that in his press conference yesterday, and he's hoping that the players will put on a show for those players that died 50 years ago later on today. It's going to be a close game, lots of stars on show. We also ought to mention some of the English players, lots of foreign players playing here, but it is the All-English final. Watch out for Wayne Rooney up front for Manchester United, and Paul Scholes, who will definitely play. Sir Alex Ferguson says he will play. Remember, he didn't play in '99 when Manchester United won the Champions League in Barcelona because he was suspended. So Sir Alex Ferguson says this time he will play. There is sentiment in football, it seems. And on the Chelsea side, you have that backbone of their team. John Terry in defence, Frank Lampard in midfield, and Joe Cole, who we expect to play, who'll be just behind Didier Drogba, the main striker.
Well, as you heard it there, we're only a matter of hours away now from the Champions League final here in Moscow. That was Dave Garrett outside the Luzhniki Stadium with the latest there. Of course, we'll be following the build-up throughout the day here.